Rachel Zegler, No Way Back, a Hollywood train wreck. And you covered this when you were on WDW Pro the other day. So let's kind of go into these articles. I got a series of them showing what happened to her career and kind of where she's headed.
So first is this profile that says Rachel Zegler, theater kid based princess. After breaking records on Broadway, the 24-year-old actor is playing her dream part on London's West End. Okay. No amount of bullying or scandal can change that.
Well, let's pause it right there. And there's 2 of the 3 articles I got today are framing Rachel Zegler as this strong, powerful woman who they really want to put up as the next Hollywood star, or at least that's what they wanted to do. Hollywood is having her. The problem is the fans aren't, and anything she's in is going to get canceled. So let's just take everything in these articles with a bit of a grain of salt because they absolutely love the Zegler. Okay, let's read and see what's going on here.
So in this profile from ID, it says Zegler is spinning on a desk chair eating sushi. She spent the morning living out her dream, and after lunch, we'll do it all again. For the past month, Zegler, the clear-voiced, internet literate, Golden Globe winning illiterate, has been holed up in a rehearsal studio in the deep East London, preparing to play the lead in London's West End revival of Evita. It's a Friday, the final day for Zegler, and the team will spend here.
Okay, let's pause it there, and then we'll skip further down the article when we continue there. But they're really trying to frame her transition as her return to theater, her return to Broadway. We're going to see as these articles go on, Americans weren't having her. That's why they didn't even put her in Broadway. They brought her over to London so she can quietly do her thing and kind of revitalize herself and maybe get good press from the propaganda media like the BBC and things like that over in the UK. Okay, let's continue here.
Zegler is in beast mode. She yearned to play Eva Peron since she was a child. The proof exists online, where videos of her singing its most famous number, Don't Cry For Me, Argentina.
Well, one sec. And this is why nobody trusts mainstream media or these pop culture rags, and they do come to places like WDW Pro, Pop Culture Crisis, Culture Casino, and us. This is just pure propaganda, and anybody can see through it. This is like the CNN of pop culture. Okay, let's continue here. Sorry to interrupt you.
She wins a little when you mention it. It's giving 2021. She deadpans, but to an outside eye, the videos are lovely and prophetic. 8 times a week for the whole summer, she'll belt out the song for over 2,000 people per show. She's also doing it outside the theater, so the most iconic song in the musical isn't even actually done live for this audience that's paying, but whatever. She's too young to have seen any previous live productions of Evita, but she's aware of the legacy she's inheriting from the greats of the game, Patti LuPone, Madonna, and Elaine Page. This summer, though...
Well, hold on. A legacy? I know way too much about Rachel Zegler because when Snow White came out, that's all we made for videos for a little while. So she has no respect for history or anything that went on. She completely betrayed what Snow White was. And to say she's going to give homage to other legends that once were, I think this is, again, just a bunch of propaganda. And I would take this with more than just a grain of salt. Okay, let's read the kind of end of the article here, and then we'll get into the next one to kind of put the dominoes together.
It's a long article. Hold on. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to leave you there.
Well, that might get us clicks. So.
Yeah, it's a long profile.
Okay, just read some part of the article here that's near the end. This is good.
I'm trying to see. It's not even the end. Hold on. 3 weeks later. Yeah, hold on. I lost a lot of opportunities for joy by thinking there's no way I could possibly survive it. She had said to me a few weeks earlier, and it's like, you're fine. Okay, drama queen, you're cool. Don't worry, you're all right. When those things are going on, she said, you just want to push it away because it's a bad feeling. I realized as I got older that sitting in it is so much more important than pushing it away. Zegler took a swig of her iced tea and smiled.
This was obviously a puff piece trying to revitalize Zegler. I wouldn't be surprised if she paid for something like this. This is absolute garbage of an article. How long that thing was, and they were still puffing her out by the end, is crazy. Let's go into the second article I have here, and this one's making radicalized claims as well. And we kind of covered this story the other day, but I put it back in here. She's saying she's choosing to leave Hollywood. No, The audiences are completely rejecting her. They kind of gave her the Pedro Pascal treatment, and Hollywood really wanted to pump her up, but audiences rejected her faster than like sliced bread.
So from That Park Place, go follow WDW Pro and That Park Place if you don't follow them. Rachel Zegler claims leaving Hollywood was her choice after Snow White flopped. Rachel Zegler is claiming she made the decision to leave Hollywood and return to theater after the disastrous Snow White. Rachel Zegler is back in the spotlight, but not the one she used to chase.
Yeah, and you're going to see the common thread between these three articles. Man, they touch this girl with kid gloves, or they really try to pump her up. And the thing is, anytime she tries to reemerge into Hollywood, the alternative media is really taking control of the space, and they're going to go over it with a fine-tuned comb, and she's going to have a really tough time getting back into Hollywood, because what makes and breaks stars now is the alternative media. So without a doubt, I think she will try to reemerge back into Hollywood after a Broadway run. I think Broadway is kind of where she belongs. As much as I dislike her, she is a good singer, and she's kind of suited for Broadway. Broadway is much more of a progressive audience, so they're going to look at her past in a much different way than mainstream audiences are going to remember her for Snow White. But Snow White is not going to be forgotten by mainstream audiences for a long, long time, if ever.
But I mean, this one from The Park Place, they're talking about what she said, but Marvin Montanero, who wrote it, actually goes hard against her.
Later on in the article, I think, yeah. Okay, let's go into it a little bit.
So in a feature interview, the embattled Snow White actress offers a carefully curated look at her current chapter, starring as Eva Perón in the already controversial West End revival of Evita. But beneath the gloss is a deeper story, a Hollywood career that has seemingly stalled, wrapped in public relations narrative that Zegler insists was always her own design. I came back to theater on my own volition, which is just crazy, Zegler says, laughing. I'm the type of person that can only be bored for like 2 weeks. After Romeo and Juliet closed, I was doing the odd press here and there for Snow White and was sitting there for a bit going, what am I supposed to do? That quote may say more than she intended.
Okay, yeah, maybe I was wrong about this article. They are going at it a little harder, and this is kind of what I like to see, honest journalism. All I can do is shake my head when I hear this girl talk, and she's not actually talking. These are her quotes, but it's like, my God, she's detached from reality.
Continue?
Yeah, let's skip down to the end, because I do have one more article I want to cover with Zegler here.
Sure. I want to go to where she says that she left.
Yeah, and they really messed up Snow White when they did this thing. Okay, let's just go right there. Is perfect.
The final line sums up Zegler's... Oh, hold on. My compassion has no boundaries, Zegler said. My support for one cause does not denounce any others. My heart doesn't have a fence around it. And if that's considered my downfall, there are worse things. Final line sums up Zegler's carefully constructed image. She's portraying herself as the artist, as activist, misunderstood but unbroken, sidelined but not for poor judgment, but for courage. It's martyrdom wrapped up in designer jewelry, served alongside iced tea and Broadway ballads.
Okay.
It was referencing back to the article we read before.
Yeah. Okay, let's go into the final article here. And this was really her transition. And her team, her publicity team, her media connections with magazines and mainstream media really kind of curated this for her. Because if she would have failed over in London on a musical, that would have been the absolute end of her career. It looks like she's going to maybe be able to parlay this into a Broadway stint. I'm guessing after Broadway, she's going to try to make a second coming into Hollywood. Whoever takes a risk on her in Hollywood, I think is going to pay the price at the box office.
So from Deadline, Breaking Bads, Red Hot Zegler soars in Evita London Palladium previews, heating up the box office as chatter turns to 2027 Broadway transfer.
1 second, and I'm just looking at the picture there, and I can never get the image out of my head of her standing on stage. Was it the Oscars with Gal Gadot?
Yes.
She just looked like a little midget lady, and she was completely unattractive next to Gal Gadot. If I were to take this image by itself, I would say, oh, she's an attractive girl, but ever since she stood next to Gal Gadot, and the fact that Gal Gadot was supposed to be the ugly queen in that movie, and she was supposed to be the beautiful, like, maiden hero lady, is absolutely crazy.
She has an interesting face, let's just put it that way.
Her eyes are like a fish. What? They are. Sometimes I look at my eyes on camera, they look a little bit crooked based upon the angle, but man, hers, it doesn't matter the angle. She's looking to the left and the right.
And she It's weird. As an actress, she hasn't learned how to position her face properly and what her angles essentially are. Because in Snow White, there were too many angles where she looked like she didn't know how to properly react for camera. She was reacting as a human and not as an actor.
Well, and I also think she's used to like musical theater training, which is you are much more animated. You move your mouth a lot more, things like this. So what works on camera doesn't necessarily work on stage. She does have good reviews when she does do musicals, and she does have a good voice. I will give her that. So maybe stick to Broadway. I really hope she does not come back to Hollywood.
So Rachel Zegler is a sensation as her voice soars through the London's Palladium Auditorium and beyond, portraying Eva Peron in Evita, the classic Tim Rice, Andrew Lloyd Webber show directed by Jamie Lloyd. Also, Zegler, all 5'2" of her, is the biggest star in town, with punters adding 200,000 and more to box office daily since previews began a week ago, bringing the total advance as of late Friday afternoon, this was last week I believe, to in excess of 9 million for a 12-week summer run.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's good or bad. I am very aware of the economics of film industry, movies. We used to work in the film industry in Vancouver, so I know how that works very well. I'm not going to pretend to know stage plays and theaters. I don't know if that's good. I know this was a major release in London, so I would expect it to make millions. How much did it actually have to make its budget back and things like that? I do think the progressive community does like her a lot, and I do think they're going to give her a chance on Broadway and try to launch her back into Hollywood. Like I said, I don't think the Hollywood return, if it ever comes, will work.